Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today I'm going to be taking a look at Knave's Second Edition by Ben Milton of Questing Beast. So really looking forward to actually digging into this. I'm expecting the physical copy of the book to come fairly soon, probably within the next week or so. But Ben of Questing Beast sent out the PDFs just the other day, so really just prior to this particular holiday weekend, and so I'm really excited to start delving into this. And this is one of those OSR slash independent publications that I was really looking forward to for the 2024 year. Again, Happy New Year to everyone, and I'm really looking forward for my channel to focus on all of these OSR and independent publications coming out over these next 6 to 12 months. So I'm expecting quite a lot to actually start flooding in, and this channel will spend quite a lot of time taking a look at these. So without further ado, let me go right into the PDF. And like I said, I normally wait until I get the physical copy in my hands, but I wanted to start off the new year with a video today, and no better choice than to take a look at Knave 2 or Knave Second Edition for that purpose. So here we go. And you should see here, yep, we have it. So let me go to the beginning here. So it is 88 pages long, and this is the profile layout of it. And but what I'm really looking to do is focus in on this layout here, which I actually like a lot better. So I am going to be focusing on the landscape layout of this, and just start going through it. Now, why I like the landscape better, and I'm going to expand this view here so you can see it as well, is maybe 175 is a little bit too big, but you're going to see, let me drop that down a little bit. You're going to see that on one page. So I would actually print this out in landscape to have, and this is a really good presentation of it. So you can see the abilities, and it goes through. So this is just a quick reference guide that you can have in front of you at your table, and you can even let your players have a copy of this as well, so that they have a quick reference sitting at the table. So we're going to go through abilities, doing checks, combat, item slots and how that works, damage, spellcasting, relic magic, and equipment. And you have all of the other various breakdowns within them. So now we get here, and so it is written by Ben Milton. Art is by Peter Mullen. Maps are by Kyle Latino. Logo design is by Tim Hastings, and editing is by Julia Milton and Jacob Hurst. 2023. And like I said, it's coming out at the very end of 2023, so it is great to start off the new year with us. We're going to go into the introduction here. So Knave is an old school fantasy role-playing game in a tradition begun by David Wesley, Dave Arneson, and E. Gary Gygax in games such as Braunstein, Blackmoor, and Dungeons & Dragons. What I love about this is that it really does go back to and actually mentions the individuals such as David Wesley, which, to be honest with you, I've never seen his name come up in any other introduction. And it is clearly an oversight by virtually everybody else. So when you're looking at what Knave Second Edition is looking to do, um, you'll definitely understand if you understand if you've watched like the Secrets of Blackmore. All right, you will understand how important David Wesley was, along with Dave Arneson and E. Gary Gygax. So, far too often I've seen people talking about the beginnings of Dungeons and Dragons, and they even leave out in some cases Dave Arneson's name, which to me is just bizarre, and really quite unfair. And the fact that this mentions Dave Wesley is just amazing to me. So kudos to Ben Milton for giving that acknowledgement. So let's continue on. I'm even more excited now than I was prior to actually digging through this. So you are hearing my reaction in real time. So, so here we go. Like its predecessors, Knave's gameplay is fundamentally open ended. Its goal is to help groups create a believable other world that players can explore and interact with through their characters, limited only by the world's internal logic and the game master's rulings. Anything may be attempted, survival is not guaranteed. Again, love that idea, love putting it right out there. Knave's rules are also open ended and are intended as a starting point to help get a campaign off the ground. They assume the traditional framework in which characters set out from a safe haven into the wild, search dangerous ruins and dungeons for treasure, and then return to the haven to carouse and recuperate. The summaries at the front and back of the book can print it can be printed out to help players get up to speed. Nothing in these rules is sacrosanct. The rules at your table will evolve over the course of a campaign as you and your players tailor them to fit the way you like to play. This is a good thing. Altering the rules and writing your own is a time honored part of the hobby and critical part of becoming a great game master and, in time, a game designer. To help you with that, I've added a designer's commentary section at the back of the book, which walks you through my thought process and explains why I wrote the rules the way I did. Again, never seen that laid out that way before. Sounds really, really useful for not just giving experienced dungeon masters or experienced game masters, I should say, you know, with the premise of this and how we should be using this, but it's also informing the new game master how useful this item is going to be for them, and where they can specifically go to help them hone those skills. Tables. One prominent feature of this book is its many random tables, and it's the main reason why I bought this was, and backed this Kickstarter, was because I not just the amount of the tables, but the kind of tables that are being presented here, I find is going to be very, very useful, not just for this system, but I can carry over these tables into any other system. So I'm really excited about that as well. These tables take nearly every aspect of fantasy fiction and break each of them into 100 examples, creating the kind of elements of fantasy that GMs can use to rapidly construct living, varied worlds to explore. The table's primary use is for session prep, but they can also be used on the fly when the PC's wandering off in an unexpected direction, Results can be selected at random by rolling a d100, or the GM can simply pick items they like. Some of the entries on these tables are other random tables denoted by italics. My misreading, not the way it's written. If one of these is rolled, flip to the table on the page indicated and roll again, making sure to interpret the result in light of the original table. If this second roll also results in a table reference, it's usually best to just select the next non-table entry so as to not get results that are too strange. All right, so yeah, the more and more you depart off of the first random roll table, the further you get from what it was, looking to do or looking to give you options for, if that makes any sense. And that's how I'm reading this here. So yeah, the more removed from the first table you're going to be, you're going to further remove yourself from the theme or the tone of that first table. All right, so one of the most effective ways to use the tables is to combine results. For example, when creating a monster, one might roll twice on the animal table and combine the results of a donkey and a porcupine to create a horse-like creature covered in quills. For even more varied, one could add organs, monster traits, powers, sense, sounds, weaknesses, and tactics from the relevant tables, but this is usually overkill and could lead to a nonsensical end product. Combining 2 or 3 tables is usually best if you want something interesting but memorable. There are infinite number of things you can build with these tables once you become familiar with them. Grab a D100 and test them out. That is probably one of the most concise, and direct how to use these tables I've read. So really, really impressive, and makes you want to jump right in and start using this. So I'm really impressed with this as well. So the game master duties and the player duties, I am going to wrap up this introductory video with just these 2 sections here. So game master duties: create locations to explore. That's pretty self-explanatory, but it's going to focus on whether it is seeded with treasures and traps and friends and foes and monsters and devices and secret problems without obvious solutions, powder keg situations and ready to explode, avoid linear environments, and provide multiple routes to most areas. It's going to flesh out and support the cast, give NPCs and monsters personalities, goals and fears, and so on. Let the players guide the action. Don't plan out a plot for the players to experience. Each session's outcome should be a surprise to everyone, including the game master. All right? Keep the game moving. Point to players and ask what they are doing. If necessary, appoint a caller to the lead of the party if they spend too much time debating. The other thing you could do is just throw some random encounter at them if they're dilly-dallying too long to get them moving along. Use common sense. Most actions the PCs take should simply succeed or fail. Avoid making players roll for everything. Good advice. Make impartial and consistent rulings. And that is so important, that once you've made a ruling and you've essentially homebrewed on the spot something, your consistency to maintain that is very, very important. The players should be playing against the world, not against you. Roll your dice out in the open unless the players wouldn't know the results. And I would make that unless the characters know the results. All right, which will kind of lead into this, right? Immerse the players. Pull the players into the world by making it living, reactive, internally consistent place. Use random tables and generators to keep things fresh and surprising. Create a separation between player knowledge and character knowledge, and you will find that that creates an immersive atmosphere as well. You'll get your players thinking through the senses and minds of their characters rather than their own base of knowledge. Reveal the world. Give the players plenty of information about what is happening around them. When in doubt, give them more. Without information, players cannot make choices, and making choices is the core of the game. All right. Signpost danger. The more dangerous a thing is, the more obvious it should be. Don't penalize players for things they could not have avoided. All right, so yeah, give them a sense of what something's description, should be an indicator of its danger level. And you can create this without saying this creature is going to total party wipe your group if you attack it. You can describe it in a way that still relays that information to them, through a hint, just by describing it in great detail. Reward smart plans. When players figure out clever ways to eliminate obstacles, consider making such plans automatically succeed. Creative problem solving is a vital skill in Knave, and parties that are good at it should prosper. Keep time records. Time is a resource for players, and wasting it should have consequences, which I already previously mentioned. How many resources do they have left? What are other NPCs and factions up to while the players are adventuring? In other words, your world is supposed to continue moving forward, whether the players engage it or not. All right, and what threats are advancing? All right, so we are certainly in line, with the same kind of a concept of what an actual campaign world is about. Edit the rules. The rules are your servant, not your master. If a rule isn't working the way your group likes, talk to them about it and tailor things to fit. I would add, if you don't like the way the rules, are working, you as the game master, then you should absolutely change them to meet your taste as well. And hopefully your players will, agree with that and go along with that. Player duties. Assist the game master. Show up on time, bring snacks, learn the rules, keep session notes, draw maps, and be ready for your turn. At the end of the session, tell the GM your plans so that they know what locations and situations to prepare. All right. For the most part, I mean, I play mostly online with my players, so they have their own snacks at their table if they wish, but the other things as far as like either taking notes or not just knowing what they're going to do on their turn, but it's important, I think, for you to, as a player, to pay attention to what the other characters are doing during their turns. When it's not your turn to actually act, that doesn't mean that you should mentally disengage from what is going on and start looking through a rule book or doing something else. Pay attention to what is going on. And your game master should allow you to change up what you're planning on doing or what you were planning on doing based on what is actually happening as the other player characters are doing their thing. Always be, for the game master and for the player, always be willing to alter something as far as your interaction is concerned. Like I've had my players say, uh, even though I have initiative, I'm going to wait until the ranger does his action first, and then I'm going to, act. And that is not giving up their initiative overall. What it's doing is it's showing that they are coordinating with one another. And they do have to verbalize in character that they're doing this, but it's going to be a way for them to more tactically approach a situation that they're in. So you certainly want to reward that as a game master, and players, you want to think about that. You know, don't always just go based on, well, it's my character's turn now. Go based on when is the most effective time for my character to do his or her action. So continue with that. And that's a great assistance for the game master. Creating your character, I mean, that should be pretty, work with the group to make sure that your PC message, which the campaign setting and tone, you really should be working with your game master for doing that. And then the other the other players are going to learn about your character. Play your character. You can describe your actions in a first or third person. You can put on a voice if you need to or want to. You cooperate with the other players. I've already covered this as well. So yeah, play as your character. Separate the player from the character. Take initiative, set your own goals, and make your own fun. Seek out adventure rather than waiting for it to come to you. And I've always told my players this as well, is to be bold and to not be so hesitant, but not to the point of where you're being foolhardy either. So you'll catch the proper balance in that as you become more experienced. Ask questions. Information is the lifeblood of the game, so never be afraid to ask the GM for more details if something is unclear. Try to do that in the in character. So don't ask the GM if, can my player do this? Or can my character do this? Instead, try to put it in a way where my character is looking for a way to climb up this wall. Is there anything that he sees that will help him do that? And then then the GM will explain or in greater detail what are some of the details of that wall. Maybe there's a bookshelf that they could climb up. There might be handholds that are possibly seen on this wall as well. And then the player isn't going to ask, well, can my character climb that wall? No, the player is just going to say, using the bookshelf and those handholds that I see, I am going to start to climb the wall. And then the roll will be made, whether or not they're successful. Apply tactical infinity. Treat the game world as if it is real and work to turn every aspect of it to your advantage. When simulating a living world, no detail is simply flavor. All right, cool. So yeah, always ask the questions for possible interactions with the environment that you're currently in. Ask, like, what do I smell? What's on the table in the corner and everything. Ask for those kinds of details. Scheme. Think literally, not linearly. Avoid risking plans that require you to roll dice and instead create plans so bulletproof that success is certain. use psychological magic allies, equipment, and use psychology. Sorry. Use psychology, magic allies, equipment, and the environment to overcome obstacles rather than relying on ability checks. Fight dirty. To win a fight, to win fights before they begin by rigging the situation in your favor and avoid conflicts where you don't have the upper hand. Combat in Knave is neither balanced nor fair, so assume that your character's life is at stake anytime swords are drawn. Prepare to die. Embrace your PC's death when it happens and roll up a new character to take their place. Losing a PC can be painful, but it also makes for great stories. Let's you try out new character concepts and can thrust the party into unexpected situations. Remember that ultimately an RPG campaign tells the story of the whole world, not a single character or even a single party. As the campaign continues, it's enriched by the stories of the characters that came before. And then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it. So I am going to shift views and come back over here. So wow, what an introduction. I mean, so much of that I think is really important for both new players and experienced players, for new game masters and even experienced game masters to either, hear this for the first time or just to hear it again in a slightly different way that might make you think about this in a way that you hadn't before, regardless of the amount of experience that you might have. So I'm really excited to continue digging into this. So glad that I backed this, and literally, it's one of the least expensive Kickstarters that I have backed. And for $35, I'm getting a soft cover, the standard print soft cover book, and the PDFs that I already have on hand, and I already see that value just reading through the first 2 pages of this of this book. So really impressed with it. Really glad that I backed it. And once this becomes readily available, if you backed it during the Kickstarter, I strongly suggest that you pick this up, because even if you're not going to use the system itself that it's built around, you can absolutely use just the ideas of it, and you can use those tables in any system that you're running. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and look forward to hearing your questions and comments in the comments section. If you like the video, like it, and if you have a group that you can share it with, please feel free to share this. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. This upcoming year, 2024, I am going to be looking for the opportunity to start up a live session at a local gaming store or my local library, so that I can get more face-to-face playtime going on, at least on a weekly basis. And so I'm looking forward to doing that in 2024. It's one of my New Year's resolutions, one of my gaming my gaming related New Year's resolutions is to get more face-to-face time actually accomplished, not just by going to additional conventions, but also to set up that new game. And perhaps Knave will be something that I will roll out every once in a while at a at the local gaming shop or my local library for my player group that I create. Hopefully over the next 2 months or so, I'll get something like that up and running. And for the rest of you, Happy New Year. I wish you all health and wealth and prosperity, and absolutely expand your horizons within the games that you're playing. Test out new things, play with different groups of people, and let's just keep the hobby moving along, um, ever expanding and ever increasing its depth as well as its scope. So, you all have a great day. Take care.